how do I figure out my area for property deals? Hi, I'm Susannah. I'm the founder of this YouTube channel and also of The Good Property Company. So the YouTube channel, whether you want to make 50 or 100 grand flipping, we got playlists for you. Whether you want to get your first entry points into property and really learn how to do it, I got great videos and playlists for you. Or whether you want to BRRR, you know what that means, buy, rent out, refurbish, refinance, and keep forever having almost passive income, which is where I'm at now, then guess what? I got great playlists for you. So make sure you like and subscribe the channel so that you don't miss out on all the new videos that are coming out to you. So today we're going to look at how do I find out my area for property deals? Because so many people talk about the goldmine area, and I'm going to say now, and I've got to be polite in case you've got kids watching as well, that is just bunkum. It is just a piece of marketing designed to make you or the person that they want to sell the course to feel that there's some secret location somewhere unknown that you've got to buy a course to find out from it. Actually, no. If you're a beginner, it's going to really put you off, and it's going to suggest that there's stuff that you don't know that you need to know to do with this goldmine area. So the other reason I get frustrated is that getting deals is less then about consistent work, which is what it is about, and more about some secret location. It suggests that you've got a secret that you don't know about, and also it downplays the consistent work on you finding deals. So, like I said, absolute nonsense. The reason I know, when I started, everybody said to me, Bristol is far too expensive. You'll never find discounted deals in Bristol. Well, we did. And the reason we did is we followed consistent step-by-step processes and used some of the tips I'm going to share with you now. So let's figure out how you work out your area, shall we? Let's get you set up for success, because every discounted deal you're going to find could bring you in 50 to 100 grand wealth. So it's really worth you getting it right and getting yourself set up properly. All right, let's look big picture first. You want a population of 250,000. And the reason you want to search within a population area of 250,000 is you've got fluidity. You've got people buying and selling houses, so you're going to find the discounted houses you're looking for. And the reason I know that is you're going to find between 1% and 2% of every house sold is discounted. So in your area, if you've only got, I don't know, let's just exaggerate and say 10,000 people, you're going to have very few houses being bought and sold because people on average move every 7 years. So to find that 1% is going to be incredibly difficult. Whereas if you're in a population of 250,000, there's an awful lot of people buying and selling houses. So for you to find that 1% to 2% of houses being sold, there just are more of them. So we're getting you set up for success. There are 49 cities in the UK with a population of 250,000 and above, and I checked that on Wikipedia. Now, if your area doesn't have a population of 250,000 and above, what are you going to do? You're going to put together 2 or 3 different locations, aren't you, that are close to you and collectively give you a population density of 250,000 and above, because we want you setting up for success. Where do you find out the populations? I mean, probably your council website and things like that, but I just used Wikipedia. It's probably your fastest. Second tip for you is estate agency numbers. Not estate agent human beings, but how many offices in your local area are there that are selling houses. And again, this is about getting you set up with high numbers so that you've got a high likelihood of success. Let's make life easy for you. 1% to 2% of deals are sold discounted, so we've got to put a lot of numbers in the funnel. I want you to make sure that your local area where you are searching, you've got a minimum of 100 estate agents on your list. Now, I really don't mind if 10 of those estate agents are the same brand. So for us in Bristol, we might have, like, I don't know, 10 Andrews, 10 CJ Holes, all of that kind of thing. But it doesn't matter that they're the same brand. What matters is that they're in slightly different locations. And so you've got 100 estate agent offices being supported by the market of buying and selling houses. Why? Because you'll need a lot of houses being bought and sold for you to find the 1% to 2%. So we're getting you set up for success. Tip number 3, where should you invest, or where shall I invest, is a really great question I get asked all the time. I actually like you investing close to home. You know the area, you know the individual streets, you know, you're familiar with the location, and if you're close to the property, you can check on it while it's being renovated. And if you do self-manage for rentals, then obviously you can check on your tenants, you can do your inspections, and you can move people in and out. Now, personally, I've never met any of my tenants. I know I've got an awful lot of them, and I don't intend to, not in a rude way, but I have really great tenant find and inventory clerks and superb people that do all the work, and I sit at the back of that and just check it's all being done, because I want to be in the place, you know, the asset owner. So I don't want to be a business owner running a business, which is what you'd be doing if you self-manage. I want to be an asset owner, and that comes from Rich Dad Poor Dad, where you're employed, self-employed, business owner, asset owner, and I have consciously moved myself to the asset owner side. I still have my properties very, very close. They're in roughly 1.7 miles of the city centre, and most of them are between 9 and maximum, I think, probably 17 minutes drive of my home, and when I used to have an office, of my office. So very close. Right, next tip, which is tip number 5, let's talk clusters, shall we? Wherever you invest, whether you decide to invest locally or you want to invest somewhere far away from home, I want you to invest in a cluster. Why? Again, you know, or you'll get to know your location, won't you? And you can have the same power team, the same handyman, the same electrician, the same plumber, and importantly, the same letting agent or tenant find and inventory clerks, so that you can easily oversee their work. You don't want one letting agent and one handyman per property. You want an entire cluster of properties being managed by a brilliant A-lister team, whether you're local or whether you're far away. So if you choose to invest far away, cluster. Tip number, what are we on, 7? The biggest mistakes people make. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen property investors make is to buy from dual sources all around the country. So on the one hand, brilliant, you've bought discounted, I salute you, you've taken action, that's brilliant. But one in Newcastle, one in Devon, one in Scotland, and this is great at purchase time, but you only buy the property once, you're going to manage the property for the next 10 to 20 to 30 years. And this happened to a really dear friend of mine who early on thought, whee, this is fabulous, and bought in numerous different locations. Quite quickly, she concluded, no, this isn't quite right. She divested of the ones that weren't in the right location, and now she's absolutely found her sweet spot, and she's doing brilliantly in property. So don't get carried away by just the fact that you can buy a property here, a property there, a property anywhere else, and actually think, no, I'm going to plan from the beginning my long-term strategy and my cluster strategy. Tip number, I think 8, my rules. I set my rules clearly early on. I set them really before I started investing. I now live part-time in Barcelona, where I am just now, and part-time in Bristol, in the city centre of Bristol. And I decided to invest in Bristol in a very close location to Bristol. So almost all of my properties are within a 1.7 mile radius. Some of them are like 1 minute from each other, 2 minutes from each other. I very rarely have a void because I've chosen the location, which is fairly city centre Bristol, and also I keep my properties at really high standards, and we like to fix things really, really quickly. And my prices are high, but then the quality of the property is really high as well. So can you see there's quite a lot of rules that I set in there? Location to me, location to the city, type of customer, and quality of property. Now coming on to type of customer and a street tip for you. So this is tip number 9, I think, customer segment and my street tips. There are rental streets and there are owner-occupier streets. And you might have noticed this subconsciously, or you might have noticed this consciously. A rental street typically, not always, but often you'll notice it might be on a slightly more main road where maybe families wouldn't want to live. Probably the gardens are a little bit scruffier because you often will find, not always, but often you'll find that tenants don't look after gardens as well as owner-occupiers do. And usually the cars are a little bit older. So if you're not a car head like I'm not, I tend to notice the cars are a bit older, either because they've got some dents on them or rust on them, or more importantly, their numbers, their earlier years on their number plates. And why is this important to you? So if you're buying as a renter, you might well want to buy on a rental street. Well, I don't typically buy on what I would call almost exclusively rental streets. And there's a couple of reasons. You'll tend to find that the population turns over more frequently, so it's a less community-based place to live. So if you have a property where you want to have people living there long term, not just living there for like a year or two, well, they're going to feel less welcome in that community because it isn't such a strong community. So I like to buy rental properties in owner-occupier streets. And secondly, the other reason I like to buy rental properties in generally owner-occupier streets is eventually I want to divest myself of that property. And selling a property to landlords, usually they want a discount, just like you do. So if I am buying in an exclusively rental street because the cars are a bit older, the garden's a bit scruffy, and you can just, there's maybe quite a few signs up for rent, I'm not going to get top dollar when I eventually decide to sell that property. So I match location to the type of renter I want. They want high quality, community-based, long-term rental. So pretty streets always work. So for me, those are about 9 tips for you on how you might want to figure out your area for you to invest in while I sit. I don't know if you can hear the parrots in Barcelona, while I sit and enjoy a good conversation with you from Barcelona. So if you want to find more information, have a look at my website, thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. I'll put a link in it. I'll also put a link here for a free download for you. And good luck to you. I wish you every success. All right. Sourcing discounted deals is how you make serious money in property, but how do you start? Free checklist. Click, link, download now.